We on, look. We from Philly. If you don't know, we run these streets the same way the birds run that NFC East. Giants is weak, Skins is trash. Cowboys every season whoop that ass. Look, it ain't no competition. We here for those who listen. Want nothing but the facts. That ego coalition. We could give two fucks about your trash ass team. Our concern is about that black, that white, that midnight green. The feathers on the helmet, bruh, our hearts indebted. Fly Eagles fly, what it's about, bruh. I said it, look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
We're starting this season over. Starting from ground zero, day one. Sacrifice, man. The season's gonna be here before you know it. Every team is talented. What are you willing to give up? If you want to hold that trophy again and not be that one and done team, now's the time to put in the work. Get better today. The new norm, remember we talked about that at the end of the year. Guess what? The new normal starts today.
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live broadcasting from Wildfire Sports Studios. Welcome to the 4th and JAWN 2018 Eagles Offseason Episode 6. Boys and girls, your beloved Eagles, as of yesterday, are back at the NovaCare Complex for off-season meetings. And today, a couple of them addressed the media. You had guys like Jenkins, like Wentz, like Ertz, like Hicks, talking to the media almost for the first time since the Super Bowl victory. And I don't know about you, but I grew a little bit concerned. How are the boys going to come in? Are they going to come in sniffing themselves, feeling like champions, walking in with a little bit of swagger, maybe a little bit too much swagger? Are they going to walk into the NovaCare Complex rocking that post-Super Bowl hangover? Well, the one thing that each one of those players said and repeated was the thing that we played during the intro. They talked about the new norm. And that's how you know a coach is connecting with their players, when you hear every single last one of those players repeated. But it was a different interpretation of the new norm that maybe the fans interpreted as. The new norm in Philadelphia, as far as the fans are concerned, we talk about new norm, it's about championships. We talk about parades. We talk about raising Super Bowl banners. We maybe talk about the other sports in Philadelphia winning champions as well. That's the new norm of Philadelphia, right? Winning championships. That's not what it is to this Eagles organization. The new norm is the prep work, the dedication, the hard work, the grit, the determination, the sacrifice that they need to get to that level. And we put a high priority on players like a LeGarrette Blount coming in with a Super Bowl ring. Now we got a room full of guys with Super Bowl rings, full of guys that know exactly what that new norm is about. And personally, I was happy to see the boys back and happy to see them ready to go to work and exercise that new norm, because nothing is above the repeat.
The repeat.
Simple as that.
There's an echo in here.
Mr. Gail Saunders, Eagle Sessions on Twitter, my friend, rocking the genuine mustache.
Yeah,
get a close-up of that sweet stash he's got going on right there. It's a good look.
Silky right there, man.
Yo, Gail comes in always swagged out, dude. I am so jealous.
He's definitely got the best fashion in the crew.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Black man gotta have swag, bro.
You do.
Filipino man gotta have swag.
Man.
He's dripping.
You know what I'm saying? But you talk about this new norm. The new norm gets me hyped as fuck. You know, I'm so excited about the direction that this franchise is about to go in. But you know, you looking at the you know, the press conferences with the players, you know, the guys aren't smelling themselves. It's just another day for them. They're ready to go back to work. The one thing that got me so hyped was that I saw a photo of Sidney Jones, just nonchalantly, a healthy Sidney Jones, walking into the NovaCare. And he represents the future for this team. So I mean, I'm excited, man. And you have the players And Malcolm Jenkins echoed that the players set the tone for this Eagles team.
Yes, sir.
This is not the same team as last year. We'd all want the same team and the same results, but in reality, it's a new squad, and there's gonna be new pieces added into the locker room, and that energy and that fire is so important, and those relationships that these guys have is so important. So just to see that they're taking this so seriously, and they're back to business.
I thought it was an interesting group when they picked the players that they picked to address the media, because you had two guys in Malcolm Jenkins and Zach Ertz, which played huge roles in the Super Bowl, right? Leaders on the team, guys that were there, guys that hoist the trophy, guys that were on the field partying the confetti, and then you had two guys that weren't there on the field, Carson Wentz and Jordan Hicks. And the one thing that I kind of gathered from those two is they kept talking about the rehab group, those guys that were in the gym competing against each other, and they all kind of felt the same way, right? They all felt like they could contribute to the team in a different way, but they were all challenging each other to get on the field. And so often we think about, okay, the new acquisitions, the Michael Bennett's, all right, the the Worleys. Trust me,
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. But we're forgetting that these guys that have been in the training room working their asses off to get back on this field are probably the hungriest players in the entire roster. You talk about a Carson Wentz, a Jason Peters, a Chris Maragos, a Jordan Hicks, a Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys are hungry to get back and contribute and hoist their own Lombardi. Because even Carson Wentz kind of said it in that press conference. He was like...
He kept it real.
Well, yeah, he kept it real. He was like, I was a little jealous. Like, somebody asked him, like, so do you want your own Super Bowl championship? And he's like, dude, I got a ring. I got a ring.
Say that again, bitch.
Yeah, but he wants one of his own, and he wants it as the captain of that team, leading that offense all the way to the repeat, baby. Mike, I Bleed Philly, working the social media today. Mike, how you doing, bud?
Doing all right. Make sure y'all hit us up on 4th of JAWN on Twitter, 4th of JAWN on Instagram, and 4th of JAWN on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook.
We are live
now.
on
Facebook
Facebook
Live.
for our first. But yo, I'm so hyped. The draft is next week, fellas. I mean,
Wait, what?
Next week.
What?
Next freaking week. Do I need to say more? It's freaking on Thursday, right? We're throwing a big draft party. Next week. Okay. So it's gonna be a big party as it is. We're going to throw a big party in Philly as it is. I'll tell you what though, Gail got me hooked last week because remember that meme that he posted that he looked like Gail looks like that dude from Geis.
There he is.
I was watching a lot of highlight reel of Geis. Bro,
look at you doing your homework.
Look at you. Look at you.
Your draft
Look
homework.
at you.
Doing that by YouTube
I
highlights.
Bleed Philly, looking up college prospects. Look at you.
So what do you think of my son? He's gonna make us a lot of money.
He'll be that 30-second pick. Do
you think he lasts that long?
If he's there.
I hope he's there. I'll just say that, but
Yeah.
I think Gail's right. Probably being right in the mids, probably around the 15-ish. Guys will be gone. But I'm praying to God though, be an Eagles green, be nice.
Gail, do you got the draft order in your little binder? Shit, what am I talking about? Look how thick this
The
thing is.
draft order?
The order itself. Look that up for me real quick because we're going to try to find a landing spot. I think collectively in here we're on the we got to figure out a nickname for it because there's the J train. You know what I mean? We got to think about the Geis bike or I don't know. We got to find some sort of nickname for it.
The Geist is loose. The juice is loose, but
I got the.
it looks like juice if you know.
You got the order? All right. Sit tight on that, Evan, because we're going to get there. Evan Bubblegum here, working the soundboard. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Another day in championship paradise. We hit a little road bump this week with the whole Darryl Worley thing. We're gonna get to that, but it's nice that, like you said, I want to touch back on the fact that it was so crucial last season to bring in the Chris Longs and the LeGarrette Bunts to this team.
Veterans with a ring.
Veterans with a ring, so they could tell the guys, that when Malcolm Jenkins went out to Minneapolis, he said, "Yeah, it's nice that we're going out there and all, but we got business to finish still." That was something he said, and that was a guy who won a Super Bowl already. That was a guy with a mentality that knows that the season's not over, So I'm ecstatic that the core of our team is locked up until 2020 for the majority of the players that are a part of this Super Bowl core. And, guys like Darryl Worley, that's just to steal something from Chip Kelly, that's just plug and play. We could just plug another cornerback in there.
Yeah, the thing about Worley, and a lot of people were wondering, were the Eagles kind of quick on the trigger as far as releasing him, and should they have, let the details kind of come out. The fact that the Eagles were as quick on the trigger with Worley as they were, it almost reminded me of very Josh Huff-esque.
Yeah.
Where he was caught
minus the hollow points.
Minus the hollow points. If you remember, Josh Huff was caught going over, I think it was the Ben Franklin Bridge, on the Jersey side of thing. When I can tell you, being a New Jersey resident and a son of a New Jersey State Trooper, those cops don't fuck around.
But I learned through that court case that the whole bridge belongs to New Jersey. So if you could pull
the whole bridge belongs to New Jersey?
It's New Jersey. Yep.
Okay. Oh, well, then he was fucked either way.
Yeah.
Right.
But, when the evidence is, so damning against you, look, you were pulled over, you had pot in the car, you had gun in the car, hollow points in the car, there's no reason to go to court and wait for the details to come out. And I feel like that was the same case as the Darryl Worley case, where you are passed out in your vehicle, obviously a DUI situation. Some of us have been there. Trucks. Not DUI, but maybe passed out in the car. Look at it, dude. And, you're combative with the police to the point where you get tased.
Or donkey.
I think that maybe the Eagles saw, and being as in close proximity to the Eagles facility.
It's just not a good look, man.
It's just not a good look.
It's not a good look for the brand. The thing that I was quick to be, I was like, yo, you got to release him.
So was I. Did you catch shit for that?
People were asking me why so soon. I'm like, this first day is so important to this team. Like you're setting the foundation for the season. You have a situation like that and you don't nip it in the bud. It's more about sending a message to this whole roster.
Yes.
This isn't about Darryl Worley. It's about the Philadelphia Eagles and the team being focused going into the season, all on the right page. We're not bringing that type of energy into the locker room. And then again, he's a Philly guy, man.
Yeah, that's the shame of it.
This is the best situation for him to play in front of his family. This is where he grew up and played. He could have been a goddamn hero, and now he fucking shit it away. But that's his fault,
Yeah, I think Kelly, one of our writers, had an interesting take on that. With I'm not sure if she brought up Chris Carter, but it made me think of Chris Carter as well. Just players that are professionals in the league, and then they end up coming back to where they grew up. It's possible that he could have reconnected with guys that probably weren't the best influences in his life.
Possibly.
When he came back to Philadelphia from where he got away, and then you know what I mean. So that kind of thing could be detrimental sometimes to going back to your homeland.
And just like a Chris Carter incident, look, just because I hope he gets a second chance. Look, I've been drunk and fucked up. I think everybody in this room has been gotten drunk and fucked up. And I think most of the people listening to this podcast right now have gotten drunk and fucked up. And maybe lost their job over it.
And they might be high right now.
Or in the case of Crazy Batman fan, he might be high right now. Or Gonzo and Terry, they might be doing their thing. But I hope he gets a second chance, because you bring up Chris Carter, and that's a perfect example where he was doing things that he shouldn't have been done in Philadelphia. Buddy Ryan cuts him. He said that's the best thing that happened to him, or made him refocus his career. Went on to have a Hall of Fame career with
needed a change of scenery.
Needed a change of scenery, and honestly, a reality check.
And it needs a fucking fall guy.
Yeah, you need a fall. Always have a fall.
Your fall guy drives you at least. A guy to fucking drive you in this day and age of Lyft and Uber. Yeah. Just someone pick your ass up.
Seriously, man.
Call one of your cousins, your aunties to come down that live in the city. But you got to be a pro. At the end of the day, that's the difference between a rookie move and a pro. A pro doesn't let them get in these types of situations.
Yeah, you have to be responsible.
I mean, he's been in the league for 2 years already. This isn't
yeah, he should know.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever get those replies on Twitter? Be like, well, the Eagles are waiting for the Michael Bennett situation, and I'm like, you know what? The Eagles must know a lot about the whole
different
Michael Bennett situation.
Yeah, it's a completely different situation, and you really can't lump that. And I'm defending I'm not even a Michael Bennett guy, and I'm defending it because the way they paraded, the cops up there and kind of painted this picture. I mean, the whole thing smelled of bullshit. Plus, again, you have to have some pretty damning evidence against you, like right off the bat. For
Being
the Eagles
asleep at an intersection is pretty damning.
Yeah. For the Eagles to make that move, it kind of speaks to the point that maybe the Eagles and Michael Bennett know something that the Houston PD don't know, and that is that he's innocent, and that they're willing to hold on for him.
Even Malcolm Jenkins, he could have dodged the question in his press conference. He actually talked about, it looked like, Bennett was they're trying to make an example of him.
Yeah.
So he mentioned that as well. So I mean, that's kind of big.
And the guys in that locker room know, like they're keeping hush about it, but they know, they know, and I think that's the Eagles know, and that's the important part. And Gail, to speak to you, it has less to, or what you said, it has less to do with Worley and more to do with the Philadelphia Eagles brand. Look, as much as we, pat Howie on the back for, and deservedly so, for a lot of moves that he's made, the 2 trades that he's made this offseason, both of them have been wearing handcuffs before they've even worn an Eagles jersey. So while as the Michael Bennett, that's bullshit, eventually you got to say, like, enough's enough with this.
Yeah.
And the Worley situation, he was an expendable part. Like, he was a throw-in for Torrey Smith.
It was depth.
They were going to release Torrey Smith anyway. Yeah. They just got something for him. There was no guarantee he was even going to make the roster.
Right, and also they get the money back as well.
Yeah.
So it saves like $650,000 on the cap cap space.
The only thing that hurts the Eagles in this situation, besides it's just a bad look.
Yeah.
Is the fact that this might, and I'm not saying it will, kind of handcuff them in a way in the draft when they're thinking about moving a defensive back. Because obviously they saw some value in Worley to the point where I was like, all right, now we've got this collective group of defensive backs. We know who our starters are going to be on the outside, Mills and Sidney. We're going to let the rest of them kind of compete for that slot position and or draft one. But at least we have this stable of defensive backs, cornerbacks, that we can use to maybe package up with a 4th-round pick to move up into day 2.
Right.
This might organizationally handcuff them a little bit, or at least make them think twice about moving a piece, a defensive back, like a Darby.
Yeah.
Still thinking of Howie Roseman. I feel like between those picks, between like the 1st and the 4th, there's no way in God's chance that Howie goes 2 rounds without getting a pick.
No.
So he's working the phones.
And it could be trading a current player on this roster. It could be moving back, into the 2nd round, hopefully picking up an additional 3rd, and we there at the draft party just kind of drinking, just hanging out. Speaking of which, Justin, can you speak on the draft party? Remind the folks where we're going to be and who's going to be there for the draft party.
Yeah, so it's going to be at the 7C Lounge in the FOP Lodge 5. It's on Caroline Road, right off of the Boulevard in the Northeast, right by Chickies and Pete's, Steve's Steaks, all that right there. 4th and JAWN will obviously be there. Corner Pub Sports will be there. 4th and Go will be there. Cracked Bell Crew, Santa Booed First, and 215 Live. We'll be broadcasting from 6, which is when you guys will be on, until 10:30. So 4.5 hours.
That's a lot of draft coverage, right?
Yeah, basically through almost the entire first round.
So it's like the Wu-Tang of podcasting for a while.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
the Coachella of
wildfire.
Except that you guys are allowed to publish pictures from there though, unlike Beyonce's performance.
Oh really? People weren't allowed to.
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Oh, she came out the next day after her performance and to the media outlets and requested that they not publish any pictures from her performance in case they were unflattering.
In case they were unflattering. What part of Beyonce is not flattering?
Maybe.
Did you see her ass? Did you see her ass in those like Daisy Dukes?
Well, it goes back to that picture that came out from her 2 years ago.
I was going to say when she looks like a man with that facial expression. Remember that meme 2 years ago?
What?
Beyonce looked like a man should never be said in the same.
Justin, am I wrong?
No,
with this picture?
it comes from a picture that came out, I believe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Of her. That it didn't look very good, and she doesn't want that to happen again.
Okay.
Bay always looks good.
Don't we all get pictures?
I agree.
Once Party with Beyonce was up from 40-40.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You once partied with Beyonce.
Jay-Z, yeah.
Gail's got all these like hidden story. All right, so
Look at
wait.
you.
Let's take a little time out.
Look at you.
A friend of mine.
Gail Saunders.
A friend of mine.
Partying with Beyonce.
A friend of mine had a child with Dame Dash.
Okay.
And then we're up in 40-40. And she knew. I was like, she knows everybody. How does she know everybody? And like the security, like everyone opens. Like who are you? Like she never told anyone that like she had a baby with Dame Dash. Next thing we're in the back, and then this is when Beyonce and Jace first started dating. Next thing you know, Beyonce walks in, and it was like angels and doves were flying. Like
she had an aura about her. It's like the fog rolled in from underneath.
like Princess Di or some shit.
I would imagine that's how she walks around, just with angels and doves and glitter flying in the air.
Theme music.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm picturing it in my head right now.
Look at you.
Look at you getting excited thinking about Beyonce. Hey, speaking of a bad look, too, in another NFC East team, it's been a busy week.
Oh.
It's been a busy week in the NFC East.
I know where you're headed with this one.
Dez Bryant. Throw up the X.
Throw up the L.
Yeah, he's an ex-Cowboy. I'm not sure that that any of us outside of the NFC East really saw this come. I mean, we knew about the salary cap situation. We know they signed Hearns, who was released by the Jaguars, who 2 years ago, or rather 3 seasons ago, had like over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, and that's great. He's kind of been hampered by injuries. Hasn't been able to surpass 500 yards or more than 4 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. And we thought, like, okay, that's going to be a great number 2 for the Cowboys offense. Like, finally, it's not Terrence Williams. They're going to have Dez Bryant, Hearns, and then little white trash Eminem, Cole Beasley, the wannabe rapper, working the slot. And now they release Dez Bryant.
Well, I mean, you think about if the Cowboys are trying to go into a different direction, maybe there was something that Dez was doing that was maybe him and Dak weren't, looking eye to eye. But then at the end of the day, when you saw his cap hit, like it's $16.5 million, and I was talking about a couple weeks ago about what Howie Roseman did.
The wideouts and the cornerbacks combined.
All our wideouts and our corners combined, and Mike Wallace combined cost what Dez Bryant cost.
And I don't think it was just a Dak issue either. I mean, even you can hear from Dez Bryant. He said, quote unquote, it was Garrett's guys that kind of made the reason that Dez release. So I guess you would say Sean Lee, Dak Prescott, maybe Zeke.
And then they still have to pay him like $8 million just to release him.
Yeah.
So that means they're paying $16 million. I mean, this is the dumb shit. This is why you don't win championships. Like they're still paying Tony Romo and Dez Bryant, on the books, and they're not even on the fucking roster.
You got something?
Yeah, I heard on I believe it was WIP over the weekend said that the Cowboys have almost $23 million in cap space to players that are either retired or cut off the roster this season. To put it in perspective, how much $23 million is, they ran down, you can go and get, you're a top flight quarterback for that, and you're sitting there with that money in you're paying Tony Romo to go on attempt the PGA Tour.
And that's why you don't win championships. And in the process of doing so, they really made themselves kind of a one-dimensional team. First of all, your defense is trash. Can we all agree? Cowboys defense, absolute
Swiss cheese.
Garbage.
Without Sean Lee.
Even with Sean Lee. All right, a little
like he's
better.
Some sort of gorilla glue in the middle.
Well, even the guy that they drafted a couple of years ago, who injured his knee, Jalen Smith. They drafted him in the second round with the knee injury. Now, they're thinking about it. He's not the guy that they.
He's not the guy.
Signed up. I mean, his knee's not really fully recovered.
No. So he was getting burned a couple.
So they need linebackers. They need safeties.
So your defense is Swiss cheese, which means teams are going to be putting up points against you.
For sure.
You better have a high-powered offense, a vertical offense that's able to answer those scores. I can tell you from the ghost of Chip Kelly past, when you don't have a vertical passing game and your entire thing is the run game, and your defense sucks, you're going to be getting in shootouts when you simply can't shoot out. I mean, who are they going deep to? Terrence Williams? Are they going deep to Hearns? Are they going to Cole Beasley
If
this
he's
thing to
healthy.
them? Like, they're going to be able to stack 8 in the box like teams used to do against the Philadelphia Eagles, shut down Zeke, and we all saw what happens when you shut down Zeke. The whole thing goes tits up. And then, like, it would not surprise me whatsoever. Hot take, write it down, book it. Dallas Cowboys are last in the NFC East. Last in the NFC
Music
East.
to my ears.
It kind of makes them. I don't know. Like, they could actually be forced to draft a wide receiver.
But you just played your hand.
You know,
You just played you need safeties.
they need some backup depth on their line as well. So I mean,
And
they got some holes.
If Allen Hearns ends up getting injured, just think about how even more pigeonholed their offense is. Where
And he's been injured the last 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and they're relying on the fact that he's
Right.
going to be their number one. Who's their number one if he goes down? Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley?
Yo, that defensive line of the Eagles is
And they
just
got-
going to
they-
eat some dash.
I know they're hoping that Ryan Switzer becomes the guy, an upgrade over Beasley.
And they could
as well.
draft a guy, but to just expect him to step in and be awesome to just carry the team, to put the team on his back, though.
Put the team on his
the
back.
team on
though.
his back though. Yeah.
Where do you see Dez Bryant landing? Because I have expected a quick signing for Dez, right? And him walking out of the building and saying, I'm going to play you twice a year, kind of narrowed it down to like 3 teams. And it appears that those 3 teams aren't exactly all that interested in the guy.
Apparently the Giants are.
The Giants are.
The Giants are interested.
I mean, if they're trying to get him for cheap.
But I mean, releasing him at this stage, teams don't have money for him. He's gonna have to take a 1 year,
Yeah.
Yeah,
a 1 year Alshon like deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And besides the fact, how much money would the Giants be spending on wide receivers if they brought him in?
They don't have the money to sign him.
Yeah, like they'd be
It's
paying
on
for
their team.
They don't
Odell,
have
Brandon
the money.
Marshall,
Well,
and Dez Bryant.
Well, the thing about me that like still Dez is annoying is just like it's always he's coming to your roster only to get back at his team. Like you like if
You got to give me
you're-
something extra.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a team, you're just like, no, we want a guy who's here for us.
Isn't
It's-
Richard
it's-
Sherman
it's
essentially
not
doing
a-
the same thing though?
Well, I mean, still.
Eagles
But
players were
he grew up
tweeting
in that
at him, too,
He
to
grew up
come
in
to
that area,
Philly.
went to school in that area. But I feel like Dez is really more about himself.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting to me that a lot of Eagles players were like tweeting out saying, "Come to Philly."
Yeah.
There was
Haloti
quite-
Nada.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Haloti just got
No
here.
way.
He
Yeah,
doesn't.
Lane Johnson even said
Well,
that.
he gave an
I
eye
don't know.
emoji.
Yeah,
on,
Lane.
man.
All right.
Did he? Or did he give an eye emoji?
Eye emoji. But
Well,
last
just the
time he gave
eye
the
emoji.
eye emoji, it was the Michael Bennett thing. He knew
Oh.
that was coming. So as soon as he
Yeah.
gave eye emoji, like everybody pays
Yeah.
attention. Two landing spots where maybe I kind of think that Dez might go. Number one, the Packers. All right, because they just let go of Jordy Nelson, who signed with the Raiders.
But how's he gonna catch balls in the cold?
Well, you know what? You got to do. If you're the Packers, you have got to do something to keep Aaron Rodgers happy. Because right now he is not happy in Green Bay. They got rid of their quarterbacks coach, did not consult with Aaron Rodgers. They got rid of Jordy Nelson, did not consult with Aaron Rodgers.
He's got no Olivia Munn anymore.
Well, that's
He's
it.
got Danica Patrick now.
That's true.
But when you take a look at that Green Bay Packers team, like so many other teams that had a starting quarterback go down, all of a sudden it was garbage. Like the whole team fell apart. It wasn't like the Philadelphia Eagles where it was the next man up mentality. Aaron Rodgers is out. Friggin' forget it.
Maybe Arizona Cardinals.
I was thinking San Fran, honestly.
Or
Evan
Houston.
took my team.
Houston,
yup.
maybe.
San Fran's got a lot of money, and who they got as
Yeah.
their number one? Marquise Goodwin.
I think he's going to go to Oakland. John Gruden loves him.
Yeah?
John Gruden loves Dez Bryant.
Is it? I could see Grudog and
Garoppolo
and
and
Dez.
Dez.
Throw up the Y2 banana.
There's also the Baltimore Ravens. Trox just mentioned the Baltimore Ravens who are looking for wide receiver help. Desperately. So that's something to look out. The Dez watch is not over. I just doubt it's going to be in the NFC East. I doubt it's going to be the Giants. I doubt the Giants are going to want any more drama from the wide receiver position.
Well, I was just going to go. Do you really want to put Beckham and Dez
That's what I'm saying. It's too
in the
much
same locker
personality.
room? Their head coach is not the kind of guy who deals with those kind of personalities. And to put more than one of them in the same position room, I mean, go. I'm all for it. Go for it. Ramp it up. Giants, go sign Dez Bryant, and we can sit here and watch this dumpster fire for the next 2, 3, 4 years.
They're gonna have to widen
however
all the
long
door
he's
frames in the
there.
building.
But
I mean, the other thing was like they were talking about Dez and his, his route running,
Yeah.
and then he had a new coach to like coach him along. But like at this point in time, are you really trying to learn how to run routes at this point in your career? I mean, you think about it, he didn't have a game over 100 yards last season.
For the amount that he was getting paid.
I mean, in
17
the
mil.
last 5 weeks, he didn't have over. I mean, he had like 3 catches, like 4 straight weeks, and like 30-something yards. So I mean, what does he have left in the tank, and how much are teams really going to spend on a player who's declining?
Do you have the picks 20 through 32?
I do.
Ready? Okay. Because Geis was in the building. He was in NovaCare Complex today. And it has been well documented on this podcast that we are on the Geis. We'll figure out a nickname for it, but we are a big fan of Geis. Or what's the other running back that you like? The one cut.
Sonny
Michel,
Michel.
and then Ronald Johnson.
Okay, but Geis is our number one. He was in the
Ronald
building.
Jones.
He was
Ronald Jones.
Snapchatting pictures of the Lombardi Trophy,
Oh yes, he was.
which kind of got me, Moist Gang a little bit.
Little
Moist gang in here a little bit. So,
Moist gang, moist
but
gang.
there's a question of whether a guy like Geis, who Deuce Staley's been championing for,
Yeah.
is going to fall to pick 32. Is it going to be like a Dalvin Cook situation where we thought he was going to go high and he might slide into the second round? Or is it going to be one of those situations where a running back is taken high and kind of leaving people at somewhere in the teens like, wow, you took that guy that high? But picks 20, run me through
20
one at a
through
time,
32?
20 through 32 to kind of, all right, who needs a running back?
But then you have to look at the Washington Redskins pick at, I believe, at 13. Have been showing him a lot of love. He actually went to dinner with their staff as well. Had a private workout. But that I was feeling like maybe that could be a little early. Maybe they're hoping that he drops. The Detroit Lions.
20th pick. That was the first.
All right, so Lions is the 20th pick. Possible running back destination. Who's the 21?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Nope.
Nope. Don't need it. We got Shady McCoy with the Buffalo Bills.
Nope.
The New England Patriots via the Rams.
Now, the New England Patriots are an organization that finds hidden gems at running back, whether it be that kid White.
They have 2 draft picks too.
They have 2 draft picks. They make stars out of guys like Deion Lewis. You know what I mean? They find those late round or those free agent gems that guys in your fantasy football league will be just drafting Patriots running backs, hoping they stumble upon the next LeGarrette Blount who goes in there for 1 year and just lights the world on fire. So I don't think it's going to be New England.
Then we got Carolina.
No.
The Tennessee Titans.
Possibly. DeMarco Murray's injured a lot. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they got Derrick Henry behind him.
Okay.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Nope. No. Freeman.
New Orleans Saints. No.
Nope.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Nope.
Nope.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nope.
Nope. Minnesota Vikings.
Nope.
And then we got the New England Patriots once again.
Nope again. So you might see like picks if Geis or Sony make it to pick 20, you might see them stumble all the way into our laps.
Yeah.
Is the point I'm trying to make. So there's a possibility.
Well, the teams that have been showing interest in him are the Lions, the Bucks at number 7. Maybe they're hoping to get him in the top of the second. The Ravens at number 16. Lions number 20, Steelers at number 28.
Really?
With the whole situation with
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell contract.
Yep.
And then the New England Patriots.
Really?
Yep. Have all showed interest in guys.
And the Patriots will have 2 swings at it too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, the thing about it's also interesting that John Gruden, not John Gruden, brother John Gruden,
Jay Gruden.
Jay Gruden for the Redskins said that it's a good possibility they pick a running back early. So that could mean, to me, that means second round early to me.
So Gail, going away from Geis, I know last week we took a look at some other, mock drafts out there, whether it be CBS Sports or Bleacher Report. What are some of the guys that you think the Eagles would take a look at 32?
At 30, at running back?
Well, no, just some of your draft nuggets.
I think if in a perfect scenario, I think if the right kind of tackle fell, they would be all over that. Like a Mike McGlinchey, he goes all over the board. People have him ranked like top 10, to the bottom of the first.
Okay.
And in the recent mock draft, Bucky Brooks had Mike McGlinchey going to the Eagles, that would be a perfect type scenario because he's got a ton of starts under his belt. He comes from a good offensive line in Notre Dame. Great coaching there. A lot of their linemen have been pretty terrific. You think about Zach Martin, and the guy Quentin Nelson is probably one of the best prospects coming out of the draft. Plays guard. But
he's a right tackle, correct?
He can play right and left.
So
he took over for Ronnie Staley, who is the tackle at the Ravens.
If they go offensive tackle, does that because even the left tackles coming out of college more than likely will start on the right-hand side, on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you're not necessarily looking to replace the next Jason Peters with that, or are you looking to slide lane over?
Well, but then if you think about it, in this day and age, there's a lot of talent. You look at Lane Johnson blocking on the right. Look at all the talent he faced last year.
Yeah.
So
Miller.
it's the ability to play left
side.
Yeah, I mean it's the ability to play left or right. But if you can get a guy that could be a swing tackle, potentially move in the guard or something for the time being, if a guy goes down, and then you can groom him along. A Connor Williams out of Texas, a guy who's got a lot of starts on his belt, had a good 2016. That's when he was healthy, and then 2017 he got injured. He was like kind of not half the man, but 3/4 of the dude that he was.
Mm-hmm.
But he can move inside and play guard, and then also play tackle. And then Orlando Brown, a guy that had a bad combine.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his tape, he's a sound dude, huge long arms.
Yeah. Huge everything.
He's a big dude. He's like 6'8"
or something.
6'8". His dad, he comes from
360.
Comes from an NFL lineage. His dad played for the Ravens.
Okay.
But the thing is, if he loses weight, he was like a 400-pound prospect in high school.
What?
Got down to like what he's like 370s in college.
370.
So you think of
slim 370.
So if you get a guy like Orlando Brown in with Stoutland, in a real NFL program, you have a pretty good chance of succeeding and learning from Jason Peters as well.
Let me ask you a question, a little bit different version of what I asked you before the show. Is there anyone that the Eagles are eyeballing that you particularly don't like?
That's a great question. Like anybody for pre-draft visits where you're like kind of cringing on it.
I'm pretty much liking a lot of the prospects they're bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at, sometimes like there's a good piece if you guys go to the Athletic, you could see there was a good interview with Joe Banner about the prospects and how they go about the pre-draft visit thing. And he kind of tipped his hand a little bit about what the Philadelphia Eagles do a little bit. I mean, Howie Roseman was there under Joe Banner.
Should have learned underneath him.
Do you have any ideas the number of like player interviews they'll have with players before a draft? Like, is it like in the 20 range?
You get 30.
30?
I mean, but the Eagles do their homework.
Yeah.
Like they used a pre-draft visit on the guy from Australia, the Aussie rugby player.
Yeah.
For them to use one of their pre-draft visits for a guy who's never even played football before, they're doing their homework. But I feel like if you look at, everybody's like, oh, do we need another corner? But they are looking heavy at the top slot corners in this draft. So you look at Jair Alexander out of Louisville, can play inside, outside slot, real quick, twitchy type, punt return ability. You look at Mike Hughes, another twitchy guy.
Where's he at?
UCF. A punt return ability, but he's a tough-nosed guy that could play on the inside. And you look at Dante Jackson, another guy at LSU, mentored under Jalen Mills, can play a quick twitch guy, 4-3. These guys are 4-3 guys.
Yeah.
Now we start thinking about Jalen Mills going on the inside. I mean, does he have that quick twitch? But he's a guy that's going to get a shot, but he also knows Jim Schwartz's defense and what he wants from the slot position. So him having ability to know what Schwartz is looking for gives him an opportunity to get a chance to start.
Yeah.
I